Level 126. Looking at the bottom row, there's only one wall, which means this bunny will be hit either by this or this bomb. So it can't be hit by this one, which also cannot hit the crystal. Now we know C is 0. That also means none of the others can be 0. Looking at the Z's, we see these three bunnies can only be hit by the bombs marked Z. That means Z is at least 1. Z might also be 2, maximum 2, but what happens if Z is 2? Is, in this case, X and Y are 0, which can't be. And in this case, the same thing. There's no way for Z to hit 2 targets without ruining things in other places. That means Z has to be 1, and these 3 bunnies are targets of these 3 bombs. So X and Y are greater than 1. So Z is 1. So both are greater than 1, and that means they have to hit these. And one of them has to hit this one. Now we can fill in this row with walls. And we know that one of these is going to be a wall somewhere here, which means X and Y are, of course, not connected. And since we have to have bombs here, they need a path, Y and X separately, to the crystal, which means these cannot be walls. Ergo, X hits these and Y hits these. We need a wall here that grays out this row, and we need a wall here. Now X is 4 currently, Y is 3. Y can't hit this bunny because then X would be the same as Y, and that can't be, so X has to hit this bunny. Also, you see A and B, one of them has to hit both of these bunnies because otherwise A and B would both be 3. So now we know one of them is 2 and the other is 4. That lets us fill in this column. And now we can start looking at the Z bombs. So this, of course, can't hit this bunny. It has to hit one of these. Let's assume this bomb hits this bunny. What happens then is we need to have a wall here and a wall here, but that's too many walls for this column. In other words, this bomb can't hit this bunny, and we need a wall here. That means this bunny has to be hit by this bomb, and this follows. Now we need a wall here. This is now gray. So now we need one wall here at least. Well, just one wall, and one wall here at least. These 2 columns only have one wall left each. That means everything else has to be empty. And one wall here, that means we also have to have a wall here. Now we can fill in this column with walls. No, we can't. We can fill in this row with walls, and now we see this can't be a wall. Therefore, this has to be a wall. This is grayed out, and this has to be a wall. Now this is gray. This cannot be a wall. Now one of these 2 is going to be a wall. That means this can't be a wall, because then we will get a wall of separation here. So this is not a wall, and this then has to be a wall. This can't be a wall because that would block in this. So now we can fill in this row. This is now gray. This is gray. That means the wall on this row is here. And this is gray. And we have one final spot, which has to be a wall. Level 127. First, let's make sure the crystals don't get hit by bombs. This one. And this one. So now this bunny needs to be hit by this bomb. This bunny by this bomb. This bunny by this one. And this by this one. In this column, there is only one wall, and it has to be between here. So it can't be here. In this row, two walls, one of them has to be here, and one of them here. So this is not a wall. Now we can see that these three bombs are connected. These two bombs are connected. These two bombs are connected. And these two bombs are connected. This is not get connected to anything. But if it hits this bunny, it's going to be connected here. Anyway, it can't be walled in, so it's going to be connected here. That means we have 4 different groups of bombs, and they have to be connected to one crystal each, and therefore they have to be separated from each other. Because if, let's say, these two connect, then you have 1, 2, 3 groups of bombs, and that can't be. So now we see that these have to be disconnected from these. These from these. And these. And this one is going to connect somehow here. And yeah, now this bunny has to be hit by this bomb. And these bunnies by these bombs. This bunny by this bomb. And now the question is, who hits these bunnies? I don't know yet. And we can have some more separation here. Here. That grays out this column. And this row. So now we need a wall to separate here. And one here. That grays out this column. And we need walls here and here. Now this is gray. And it seems obvious that this crystal is going to connect to these ones. Of course, since there's only one wall left in this column, so it will connect to at least one of these. And of course, it can't connect here. That means that these bunnies can't be hit by these bombs and have to be hit by this one. And that means the walls in these rows have to be somewhere here. It can't be here. Now we need separation down here. And now this is gray. We need the remaining wall in this column to separate this zone from this crystal. So it's somewhere here, not here or here. Now the two walls left in these rows need to serve to separate this from this. That can only happen with the walls here and here. Because if this is a wall, then you will have a connection. One more wall on this row. And now we need separation here. Graying out this row. One wall left in this row. Can't be here, because then we would have connection here. So this is not a wall. And so we need a wall here. Now this is gray. And we need a wall to separate here. That grays out this one. This one is also gray. There's only one wall left on this row, which means this or this is going to connect to these, which means we need to separate it from this. Now that grays this out. And now these are connected, so we need a wall here. That grays out this. One wall left on this in this column. It can't be here because then you would have a connection here. So this is not a wall. That lets us fill in this row with its last wall. Now this is gray, and we need to have a wall here. This is gray. This is gray. One wall left to place, which is here. Level 128. It says use outer numbers to play a bonus puzzle. I think I'll settle for the regular puzzle for now. So let's go to the corners first. A bomb that hits 2 bunnies. It has 3 potential targets, so it has to hit at least this one. And it's the same up here. Now let's look at this bomb that hits 2 bunnies and the column it's in. This column has 5 walls. That means this bomb cannot hit this bunny, and it has to hit this one instead. That means this bunny has to be hit by something else, which has to be this one. Now we need a wall here, and also we need a wall here. That grays out this column and tells us this bomb hits this bunny, so it can't hit this one. And there are 4 walls in this column, so this bomb can't hit this bunny, which has to be hit by this one. Now that means there's 1 column and 1 wall in this column, which has to be one of these. So these are all empty. And furthermore, that tells us that this bomb cannot hit this bunny because there are 2 walls in this row. So it has to hit this bunny. That means this one has to be hit by this, and that means this bomb hits this bunny, and there are 2 walls in the row. Now let's see, this bomb cannot hit this bunny, so it has to hit this one. That means we need a wall here, and it means this bomb is going to hit this bunny, and this bunny will be hit by this bomb. And now we see this creates a zone here that sort of traps in this crystal. It has to connect to this zone, or it has to be walled in. Of course, it can't be walled in. So it's going to connect to this zone. That means, let's see, what about the rest? So these are all connected here. And separate from those, we have these, which are all connected, which have to connect somehow to this one. Therefore, this one has to be separated here, and we need separation here as well. Let's see, we need a wall here between the bomb and this bunny. We can fill in this column with walls and this row. Now the wall in this column, it can't be here, because that means these 2 would be empty and we would have a connection, which we can't have. So one of these 2 is a wall and this is not. Now let's see, this is gray. That means we can fill in this row walls. So now this is gray. Let's look at this row here for a moment, and this one. This one has 3 walls, and of course, one of them is going to be in one of these 2 spaces, but only one. It can't be 2 because that would lock in the crystal. That means we have to have 2 walls here, and one of these 2 is a wall. Now, since one of these 2 is a wall, what do we have here then? Could this be a wall? I wonder. Well, it might be if this is empty. So I guess I can't make that determination just yet. Now let's see. We almost have a separate zone here, which can't be since these need to connect to the crystal. So this at least has to be empty. And that means we can fill in this column. And now this can't be a wall either. So that means we can fill in this row and this column. Now this is gray. Now looking at this column, one remaining wall, it has to serve to separate the zones, which means it has to be here or here and can't be here or here. That means the final wall in this row has to be here. Need one more row in this column. This crystal can't be walled in, so this cannot be a wall, which means this has to be a wall. Now this is gray, and this row needs two more walls, which are the final ones. Level 129. We'd start off by placing walls between bombs. And we see that so each row has a bomb in the middle, which needs to be walled off on either side. And in the rows with two walls, that means there's exactly one wall on each side. So that means in this row, no more walls on the right side of the bomb, and the same in this row. Also, notice that these two columns have a total of two walls, and this column has two bombs. That means the two walls in these columns have to be here, and they're going to be either like this or like this. Anyways, it means the rest of the spaces in these two columns must be empty. And now we see in these two spots, we must have walls to block the bombs from the bunnies. And if you look on the left side, we have a similar situation, except there are three walls total in these two columns, and there are three bombs they must block. That means the rest of the spaces in these columns are empty. And let's see, that lets us put a wall here to block this bomb and here to block that bomb. And we must have one here, block this bomb, and also there are two more walls in this row which must be here. So now we're starting to get somewhere. Also, look in the top row. There's one wall here, and it can't be here, because what if it's here? Then at least one of these is going to be a wall. So no matter how you place the other walls in this row, this one gets locked in. That means this has to be a wall, this has to be empty. And that means this column is gray, and the two walls in this column are here and here. Now we can also determine that one of the walls here has to be here, because they, well, actually, let's see here. Yeah, because no matter what, we need space here, because this bomb is going to be blocked off from the top side. Yeah, actually, I can't determine where those walls are going to be just yet. But I know this has to be empty, or else this bomb has no path to a crystal. And that lets us see that the wall in this column has to be here. And now this is gray, and that lets us determine where these walls are going to be. Now, these two are going to connect on the left side, because only one of these can be a wall. Yeah, I think, well, no, I'm not sure actually. Not quite sure. But let's see, the bottom row needs another wall, which is here. And of course, this cannot be a wall. That isolates these bombs, so this is a wall. This is empty. And now we see the final wall in this column cannot be here. It has to be one of these two to separate the bombs. And now we see that these will connect on the left side, which means you can't have this. So there will, and of course you can't have this, right? Because that would isolate this bomb, and this one means you will have a connection on both sides, i.e. to both crystals, which means either this or this. And it has to be the same here, right? Anyway, let's see. So one of these is going to be a wall. One of these is going to be a wall. And what about the walls here? Now let's assume these two are both walls. What happens then? Well, either this bomb gets shut in, or although this gets shut in, which can't be, that means only one of these can be a wall. So if only one of these is a wall and only one of these is a wall, we know we have to have a wall here for 3 walls total. And that grays out this column. And we see this is a wall. That means this cannot be a wall. So this has to be a wall. And now we see this is connected to the left side, so it can't connect here. So this has to be a wall. This must be empty. That means this has to be a wall and this empty. And that means we need to have a wall here. There's one space left on the field, and that is empty.